So today we're going to be multiplying and dividing integers. Yesterday we did adding and subtracting integers, and I think you guys did pretty well with that. Because it's all review anyway. You guys had this in 6th grade definitely, and possibly in 5th grade somewhat. But this one here is different. All right, here we go. So there's a couple of tricks about multiplying and dividing negative integers. So, and it's like this. When multiplying and dividing integers, the amount of negative integers will give you the sign of the product or quotient. Will give you the sign of the product or quotient. I'll show you what I mean by that. When multiplying and dividing integers, the amount of integers in it and the sign of those will give you the sign of the product and quotient. I'm going to go in a little bit with, so you're going to tabbed in with a bullet. Now this only works when you have integers in there, not when you have variables. When you have variables in there, as long as the variable isn't defined, like you know how that negative n indicates a negative number, you can't assume that because we don't know what that variable is. So this only works when you have actual integers. So did everybody get that, by the way? Sorry, I just moved down a little bit. No? Need more? Okay. Negative. There, that's better. So make sure that you have that in enough from the red line that you can tell that this is a different concept. I see a lot of you with that dot on the red line. No, it's in further. It's in further. You should have it be about a thumb width or a finger width from the red line. Mine is an arm's width. Okay? All right, moving along. And this is that trick. If the number of integers is odd of, sorry, negative integers. Negative integers. The solution is negative. If it's odd, it's negative. If the number of negative integers is odd, the solution is negative. Ghostwriter. So for example, negative, positive, I'm going to do signs. Negative, positive equals negative, or negative, positive, negative, oops, yeah, negative, that's going to be negative, so if you have, see, on this one, there's one negative, this one, there's three negative, That's a lot more handy with multiplying integers. Division by integers, we're not going to get too crazy with it. And that's a good way to know right off the bat, okay, do I have this right? Is this supposed to be negative or positive? And of course, if there's, on the other side of it, if it's even with the amount of negatives, it's going to be positive. So here's one negative, here's another negative. That's going to equal a positive solution. 2 negative, because it's an even number. And that goes back to this whole trick, by the way, where it would rotate through. Never mind. It doesn't work with this program. Oh, I forgot to check something. Right click, please. What's going so loud? Is that music going still? I did. All right. Let's do some examples. So you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So we have examples. Number 1. M is not defined. So what is our product going to be? Positive or negative? It's going to be negative because there's only one. Yes, there's only one negative in that multiplication equation. And 3 times 8 is 24. So the solution is 24m. Now don't be confused with overusing the distributive property. So this is just for you to hear and not write. Okay? So do not do where you think that you confuse it with distributive property, where it would be okay? Don't separate those out. It doesn't work like that. That could be a common mistake, or not a common mistake, but it could be a mistake that some people might overly generalize after not doing the distributive property too much. Okay, so we have negative 3 multiplied by a positive 8m, and I say a positive 8m without knowing what m could be, because it's not defined, so that's how it would be. We don't know if m is actually positive or negative, but they're not telling us, so we're fine. Any questions on that one? No? Okay. Number 2. Number 2, we have a negative 12 multiplying negative 4b. We have 2 negatives there, which is an even number, so you know that the solution is going to be positive. Beautiful. Uh-oh. Did I not? there aren't none. But in English, that would be okay, there are some, right? There aren't none. You don't care. Okay. So, all right. Division. I guess we could do a couple of those. Now with division, simple as this. I'm going to write it a couple different ways. And the reason you always put the parentheses around the second one is because you want to make sure that you don't confuse that with being divided by minus, like you missed something. And I'm going to rewrite that. How many odds do we have? 2. So what is the solution going to be? What's the quotient is going to be positive. Yep. Because in this situation, you can see that these guys actually cancel each other out. Because it's just like this, -1, -1, and that just cancels themselves out. Good. How about one more? You got to get you guys started on your homework. I think that actually that one's on your homework. Oh. $76 divided by -4. How many odds are there? Or how many negatives are there? So our solution, our quotient is going to have, it's going to be negative. Good. And for this situation, I would rewrite it just like this. I'm going to put a negative up there. If you can do this in your head, that's fine, blah, blah, blah. Or some of you might recognize that this is only 4 less than 80. The reason I was able to do that so quick is because I know Yes, sir. Yeah, oh, there you go. Yeah. So we have, well, I'll do it out the whole way anyway. What? Good. Any questions? This is easier than what you did last night.
Yes.
Okay? This is easier than what we did last night. So